I formed a choir in prison. Not because I wanted to, but because the camp commander, the Vietnamese camp commander, had gotten our ranking guy and sort of put him through the hoops, I guess. And he was wanting to know who our music man was. Well, it was me. So under duress, he gave him my name. And so the camp commander calls me in, says, "We'd want to have you form a choir, and we'll prepare some music for Christmas, and we'll play it over the camp radio and so forth." And I thought that might be good. And I thought, well, normally they won't let you think about something. They want an answer right now. I said, "Could I think about this overnight?" He said, "Yes, that'd be fine." So I fully expected to be in irons after I walked out, but anyhow, I wasn't. So I got word back to Larry Garino, who was a senior guy then and my friend. And I said, "Now here's the pitch. And if we're smart, we can, if we get them to play this music over the loudspeaker system, that would be good for the troops to hear some hometown music with hometown boys." He says, "Yeah, I agree with that." Now I'm telling this like it is a conversation, but it took about 3 days for this communications to go out and back. So I said, why don't I form a choir of one guy from every building, and then the guy who's in your building that I get can bring your message direct, and we can send it out when we go back to the building." He says, "Great idea, so let's do it." So I went back to see the camp commander and said, "Okay, but we want to be sure that this is played for the troops. That's important." Not that I had any power to it, but at least I had a little leverage in that nobody else is going to form a choir. We went over the songs and so forth, and Christmas Eve night, guard comes in to each of us. So we get in our best uniform, which is pajamas with our number on the back, that sort of thing. So they handcuff our hands behind our back, blindfold us, lead us out to a bus, and then they chain us to the bus. And so we're sitting there, we can't see. So I've got a guy sitting next to me, and I start communicating. I start banging his elbow, and there's a guy sitting in front of me, and I get my foot under here, and I start hitting him on the ankle. And now I'm sending messages and getting returns, and I'm trying to keep up with it, so that posed a problem, but we managed to do that. We ended up out at a place that we had never been to before. We didn't even know existed. They took off the handcuffs and the blindfolds and so forth. And so we went in, they opened the door and we went in to sit down. They had a Christmas tree, and they had a minister who was all decorated out. And I took my guys down, so they're going to be sitting up front facing the audience. Now, as I'm looking around, I know a lot of these people. They think I'm dead. There are a lot of guys from my own squadron who attended my memorial service. And so they're all out there, and I'm waving and blinking and that sort of thing. And so I told the choir, I said, I don't know if anybody here knows tap code, but just assume they do. Or if you're close enough to talk, go ahead and try talking. Or go ahead and tap out your message. And I said, when I'm supposed to do a solo on Oh Holy Night, I said, I think I'm going to do the solo, but I'm going to change the lyrics. And I don't think that they'll catch on. They're used to hearing the Oh Holy Night melody, but I don't think they'll listen to the lyrics. So we started doing it. Everybody's communicating, and the minister compares L.B. Johnson with King Herod, which I thought was a pretty good comparison. So it comes time for the solo, and we've got a pump organ, and I've got a guy in our group who plays the organ. So he's pumping, and he reads music, so he's doing the Oh Holy Night thing. His name was Glenn, and I said, Glenn, don't fall off the bench when I start singing, because I'm going to sing a message. He said, okay. So he starts playing, and I start singing. Oh, holy night, we're over at the zoo, 175 guys just like you. I tried to make it rhyme, and then I went into who was in charge of this, that, and the other, and everybody out in the audience is looking at me like, you dumbass. They are going to shoot you on the spot. But they didn't. They just kept right on going like this was what we'd planned to do, and they didn't know the difference.